Okay, so have you ever like started learning a new language and then thought like, man, this is so hard?
Yeah, like why is this so much harder for me than for other people?
Yeah, or maybe the opposite. You're like, wow, I'm actually kind of good at this. Or like, have you ever wondered if like your personality actually plays a role in all that?
Right, like are some people just like wired to be better language learners than others?
Exactly. And that is exactly what we're diving into today.
The fascinating connection between your personality and how well you learn a new language.
And the cool thing is we're not just speculating here. We've got like some serious science to back it up.
Yeah, we're going to be looking at this really cool meta-analysis.
Ooh, meta-analysis fancy.
I know, right? But it's actually pretty simple. Think of it like a super study where researchers have gathered like a ton of data from a bunch of different studies.
Okay, so like instead of just one little study, they've looked at a whole bunch altogether.
Exactly. And this one is huge. We're
Hmm.
talking 40 years of research with data from 31 studies.
Wow, 30.
Yeah, and those studies were done all over the place in 24 different countries.
So all over the world.
Yeah, and get this, over 8,800 people participated in total.
Okay, that's a lot of people. So like when we talk about what the research says, this is pretty solid evidence, right?
Oh, yeah, super solid.
Okay, so that is reassuring.
Mm.
So consider this your like crash course in understanding what all this research actually means for you personally.
Like whether you're already like knee deep in
Or
Duolingo,
just dreaming of like ordering a croissant in perfect French.
or maybe you're just curious about how our brains learn new languages.
Whatever your reason for being here, you're going to get some real insights from this deep dive.
Our mission today is to extract the most important discoveries from this mountain of data.
Yeah, like sift through it all and find the gold nugget.
Exactly, and we want to figure out which personality traits have a real connection to success in learning a second language.
Okay, so like, is there a certain type of person who just like naturally excels at languages?
Right, and even more importantly, we're going to explore why that might be the case.
So like, what is it about these specific personality traits that gives them an advantage?
To answer those questions, we're going to use a framework that psychologists call the Big Five personality traits.
The big five sounds kind of ominous.
I know, right? But it's actually not that complicated. These are like five broad categories that describe the main aspects of someone's personality.
Okay, so like the main building blocks of who we are.
Exactly, and they are openness to experience.
Okay, so like being adventurous?
Yeah, exactly. Like curious, imaginative, willing to try new things.
Gotcha. What's the next one?
Conscientiousness.
Ooh, that sounds like me. Being organized, responsible, goal-oriented.
Exactly. Like you love making lists and checking things off.
That's me, all right.
Yeah, what else?
Extroversion.
So like the life of the party?
Yeah, basically outgoing, sociable, enjoying being around people.
All right, what's next?
Agreeableness.
So like being friendly and easy to get along with.
Exactly.
Yeah.
Cooperative, kind, empathetic.
Makes sense.
And the last one.
The last one is neuroticism.
Okay, so that sounds kind of negative.
Yeah, it relates to experiencing more negative emotions like worry, anxiety, and getting stressed easily.
Right, so we have our framework, the Big Five. Now let's see what this massive study actually revealed about how these traits connect with learning a new language.
Let's do it.
Let's start with openness to experience.
Yeah.
What did the researchers find there?
Okay, so get this in. Openness to experience actually showed one of the strongest links to success in learning a second language.
Really? So like the more open you are, the better you learn a new language.
It seems that way. They calculated something called a correlation coefficient.
A correlation coefficient.
What I-
Okay, and that basically tells us how strong the connection is, right?
Yeah, exactly. And for openness to experience, it was 0.23.
0.23. So is that high?
Yeah, in this context, that's a pretty solid connection. And it wasn't just by chance. The research suggests a genuine link.
So basically people who are more open to new experiences tend to do better at language learning.
On average, yes, compared to people who are less open.
Okay, that actually makes a lot of sense. If you think about it, if you're the kind of person who loves trying new foods, traveling to different places,
Right, or like trying different hobbies.
then you're probably also more likely to be open to diving into a new language.
Yeah, like you're not afraid to experiment with new sounds and grammar.
And you're not super worried about making mistakes, which is like so important when you're learning.
Exactly. Mistakes are part of the process.
So openness to experience is like having an adventurous spirit, but for languages.
I like that. And remember, learning a new language is all about encountering new things
New sounds, different ways of putting sentences together.
and understanding all the cultural nuances that come with the language.
Right, like how to be polite, how to make jokes.
Exactly. And someone with high openness might actually see all these new things as like exciting challenges.
Instead of getting frustrated or overwhelmed.
Exactly. Like they're eager to solve the puzzle of the language.
That's so cool.
Yeah.
And maybe that's what leads to those aha moments that we all love.
Right when something finally clicks and you're like, oh, I get it now.
Okay, so openness to experience good for language learning. Got it. Let's move on to conscientiousness.
All right, so tell me, what do you think about the link between being organized and disciplined and learning a new language?
I mean, it seems like it would definitely help.
Right, like if you're good at setting goals and sticking to a plan,
Yeah, language learning takes a lot of effort, so being organized probably makes it easier.
that's exactly what the research found. Conscientiousness also showed a positive link with language learning success.
So, like, the more conscientious you are, the better you tend to do.
Exactly. And the correlation coefficient was 0.18.
Okay, 0.18, so still pretty significant.
Yeah. Another pretty strong connection suggesting that learners who are more organized, responsible, and goal-oriented tend to achieve higher levels of success.
Okay, but why do you think that is? What's the mechanism there?
Well, think about it. Your disciplined nature likely translates into consistent, steady habits.
So, like, those small efforts you make every day or every week really add up over time.
Exactly like building a strong foundation brick by brick.
And language learning is all about consistency, right?
It really is. It's about making steady progress over time.
Not just cramming everything in the night before a test.
Exactly.
Yeah.
And conscientious people are more likely to be the learners who diligently complete their exercises, practice regularly, pay close attention to the details.
Yeah, they're the ones who are always prepared for class.
Right. And all that focused effort can really lead to big improvements.
Makes sense. Okay, so we've talked about openness and conscientiousness, both positive links to language learning. What about extroversion? This is the one that a lot of people immediately think of when it comes to languages, right?
Yeah, because everyone thinks you have to be super outgoing to be good at languages.
Right, like the chattiest person in the room is automatically the best language learner.
But is that actually true? What did the meta-analysis find?
Okay, so for extroversion, the meta-analysis also found a positive connection with language learning success.
Okay, so maybe there is something to that idea of being outgoing and sociable.
Yeah, but here's the thing. The correlation was more moderate.
Moderate, so not as strong as openness or conscientiousness?
Exactly. The correlation coefficient was 0.12.
Okay, 0.12.
Yeah.
So still a positive link, but not as powerful.
Right. So while being outgoing can definitely be helpful, it's not the be-all and end-all.
Exactly. There's more to the story.
It's not like extroverts automatically have a magic language learning superpower.
Oh, no, not quite. Although extroverts might naturally seek out more opportunities to practice.
Like they're more comfortable starting conversations with native speakers.
Yeah, and they might be more likely to join language exchange groups or travel to a country where the language is spoken.
Right, they're not afraid to put themselves out there.
Exactly. But remember, other personality traits and learning strategies also play a big role.
So it's not all about how much you talk.
Exactly. It's about being strategic and finding what works best for you.
Okay, that's good to know. So extroversion can be helpful, but it's not the only thing that matters.
Yeah. And now let's move on to agreeableness. How does being kind, cooperative, and getting along well with others relate to language learning?
I mean, I would think that being agreeable would create a more positive learning environment.
Right, you're more likely to get along with your teachers and classmates.
And if you're friendly and approachable,
Yeah.
you're probably more likely to interact with native speakers.
And not be so afraid of making mistakes in front of them.
That's so important.
Yeah.
Because you have to be willing to make mistakes to learn.
Definitely. And the meta-analysis actually found that agreeableness does have a positive connection with language learning success.
Really?
Yeah, but it's a statistically weaker correlation.
Okay, so like a smaller effect than the other traits we've talked about.
Exactly. The correlation coefficient was 0.10.
Okay, so not super strong, but still interesting.
Yeah. It suggests that being cooperative, empathetic, having a positive attitude towards others, can have a small but noticeable positive influence.
So basically, being a nice person can actually help you learn a new language.
In a small way, yes.
I like that. Now, finally, let's talk about neuroticism. This is the one that relates to anxiety and worry. What did the researchers find?
Okay, so this one is a bit surprising.
Oh, really? Tell me more.
So you would think that neuroticism would have a big negative impact on language learning, right?
Yeah, because anxiety can be really debilitating.
Exactly. Especially when you're trying to speak a new language in front of others.
I mean, I get nervous just ordering food in a different language.
Right? But here's the thing. The meta-analysis actually found a negative correlation between neuroticism and language learning success.
Negative, so like more anxiety, less success.
Yeah, but it was very weak. The correlation coefficient was only negative 0.04.
Negative 0.04. That's tiny.
Exactly, and it wasn't statistically significant.
So like not a super reliable finding.
Right. Basically, the data doesn't strongly support a direct link between being more anxious or emotionally unstable and doing worse at language learning.
Wow, that's really surprising. So even if you're prone to anxiety, you can still be successful at learning a new language.
That's what the research seems to suggest.
That's encouraging.
Hmm.
And it kind of makes sense because we've seen that other traits like openness and conscientiousness have a strong positive influence.
Right, so maybe those traits can actually compensate for some of the negative effects of neuroticism.
That's interesting. So it's like a more complex picture than just saying anxiety bad for language learning.
Exactly. It's
Ah,
not that simple.
all right, so just to quickly recap the main findings,
Okay, let's do it.
openness to experience and conscientiousness. Those are the big winners.
Yes, those show the strongest positive links with language learning success.
Then we have extroversion and agreeableness, more moderate positive links.
And finally, neuroticism, no strong connection either way.
So maybe it's not as big of a factor as we might have thought.
But remember, this meta-analysis also looked at other things that could influence these relationships.
So like factors beyond just our personality traits.
Exactly. And they found some really interesting stuff. For example, they looked at the region where the study was conducted.
Okay, so like different countries, different cultures.
Exactly. And it makes sense that cultural norms and educational systems could play a role.
Yeah, like some cultures might emphasize speaking more than others.
Right. And that could influence how extroversion affects language learning.
That's a really good point. So it's not just about who you are, but also about where you are.
Exactly. It's about the whole context.
Okay, what else did they look at?
They also looked at the age of the participants.
Because obviously learning a language as a kid is different from learning as an adult.
Right. And the research actually suggests that the impact of personality traits could vary depending on your age.
That's interesting. So like a child's natural curiosity might help them learn new sounds more easily.
While an adult's openness might be more about their willingness to tackle complex grammar rules.
Yeah, like different stages of life, different ways that our personalities influence our learning.
Exactly.
Yeah.
And they also looked at how similar the learner's first language was to the language they were trying to learn.
Okay, that makes sense because learning a language that's very different from your native language is probably more challenging.
Right. And maybe that's where openness to experience really shines.
Like if you're comfortable with novelty and difference, you're more likely to embrace the challenge of a very different language.
Exactly. And finally, they considered the level of schooling the participants had.
So like were they in a formal language class or just learning on their own?
Right. And it seems like the educational environment can also affect how personality traits influence learning.
Yeah, like a highly structured language program might really benefit someone who's conscientious.
While a more relaxed self-study approach might work better for someone who's less structured.
Right. So many different factors at play.
Exactly. It's not just about your personality. It's about your environment, your learning style, your motivation.
It's about the whole package.
And now I want you to think about your own experiences with language learning.
Yeah, like have you ever noticed how your personality has helped or hindered your progress?
Have you ever felt like, man, I'm really struggling with this because I'm just not that organized?
Or maybe you've realized that your natural curiosity has made you a really fast learner.
Whatever your experience, it's valuable to reflect on those connections between your personality and your language learning journey.
Because if you understand your strengths and weaknesses, you can actually use that knowledge to your advantage.
Exactly. Like
Yeah.
if you know you're really outgoing, you can make an effort to find more opportunities to practice speaking.
And if you're more introverted, you can focus on building a strong foundation in grammar and vocabulary before you jump into conversations.
So the key takeaway here is that personality matters, but it's not everything.
It's just one piece of the puzzle.
And the more we understand about how our personalities influence our learning, the better equipped we are to succeed.
All right, so let's wrap this up. What are the most important things for our listeners to remember from this deep dive?
Okay, so remember, this meta-analysis gave us a really helpful overview of the relationship between personality and language learning.
Yeah, it's like a cheat sheet for understanding 40 years of research.
Exactly. And the key findings are that openness to experience and conscientiousness are the strongest predictors of success.
So if you're curious and organized, you're off to a good start.
Then we have extroversion and agreeableness, also helpful, but with more moderate effects.
And neuroticism, not as big of a factor as we might have thought.
But it's important to remember that these are just general trends.
Right. Everyone is different, and there are so many other factors that come into play.
Like your learning environment, your motivation, the language you're learning,
So don't get too hung up on your personality type.
Use it as a guide, not a rule book.
All right, so as we end this deep dive, here's one final thought for you to consider.
Okay, I'm listening.
Knowing what we now know about personality and language learning, how can we use this knowledge to make language learning more personalized and effective?
Ooh, that's a good question.
Like, could we create language learning programs that are tailored to different personality types?
That would be cool. Like
Yeah.
if you're really extroverted, maybe the program focuses on conversation practice.
And if you're more introverted, maybe it emphasizes grammar and vocabulary building.
And could we use this knowledge to help language teachers better understand their students?
Yeah, like maybe a teacher could identify students who might need extra support based on their personality traits.
That would be amazing.
Yeah.
It's all about using this research to make language learning more accessible and enjoyable for everyone.
Because at the end of the day, everyone should have the opportunity to learn a new language if they want to.
I completely agree. And hopefully this deep dive has given you some new insights and ideas to think about.
So go out there and embrace your inner language learner.
And remember, your personality is just one part of the journey.
But it's a part that you can definitely use to your advantage.
So keep learning, keep exploring, and keep having fun.
And we'll catch you next time on The Deep Dive.